Okay, welcome to today, class. Today we're going to be writing notes on adding and subtracting decimal numbers. Okay, on the back side of your place value notes, just turn the page and I would like you to label this one page 26. You're going to write a title at the top. It says add and subtract decimals. Write it in your nicest handwriting. Okay, skip one line and then I want you to put a star. This is the most important thing you need to remember about adding and subtracting decimals. To add or subtract decimal numbers, decimal numbers. Okay, right there I want you to pause and I want you to underline add or subtract. This only applies to adding and subtracting. Always, in all caps, always. Line up the decimals, the decimal points, to align place values. Okay, by aligning your decimal points, then it helps you to make sure that you add the right place values together. So the first example we're going to do, I want you to skip one line and I want you to write 2.46 plus 7.8. Okay, it's important to align these vertically, so we're actually going to rewrite this, but this is what you might see. I want you to rewrite it vertically, so we're going to write 2.46. Now you need to align the decimals, so I'm going to write 7.8. Now the reason I do this, sometimes people think that they should put the last numbers together, and so they would have aligned the 6 and the 8 together. But this 6 is in the hundredths place value, the 8's in the tenths. So we need to make sure our tenths are aligned, our ones are aligned. Now how many hundredths do we have in this number? We have 0, so we can go ahead and actually fill that in with a 0 to show that. That helps us keep everything nice and straight and aligned. Neatness counts. Most of the time I see errors with this kind of stuff is because students have chosen to work really sloppily and their stuff isn't lined up correctly and then they get messed up. If you write nice and neat, it helps keep you from making errors. So let's go ahead and add this together. So 6 hundredths plus 0 hundredths would be 6 hundredths. 4 tenths plus 8 tenths would be 12 tenths, but we can't fit 12 tenths in here, so we're going to keep 2 of them here and regroup 10 tenths into one whole. Decimal point to remember that this is the pieces and these are the wholes. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 7 is 10. So we have 10 whole units. So our final answer would be 10 and 26 hundredths. Okay, same line up here. Let's write another example we can look at. How about 12 plus 6.83 plus 0.4. Okay, looking at all these numbers, we can see that there are different place values we have to work with, but once again, remember just to line up the decimals. Uh-oh, I don't see a decimal on this. What do I do? Well, this is 12 whole units. Where does the decimal go? It always goes to separate the whole units from the pieces, so the decimal is actually right there. So when we write this out in our columns, let's write 12. And then I want you to write a decimal point to remind yourself that's where it's at. Okay, then we're going to align the 6.83 here and the 0.4. Okay, now to help us keep things in line, I'm actually going to write a 0 here for tenths because there are 0 tenths and there are 0 hundredths. Here there are 0 hundredths, but now I have something in every hundredths column, tenths column, and so on. If you want to, you can actually write zeros in your tens column if that's helpful for you to see. Okay, we are adding them all together. So we'll start with the smallest place value we have. 0 hundredths plus 3 hundredths plus 0 hundredths would be 3 hundredths. 0 hundredths plus 8 hundredths would be 8 hundredths, plus 4 more would be 12, or sorry, hundredths, I meant tenths, would be 12 tenths. I'm going to regroup 10 of those to 1 whole. 1 whole plus 2 wholes would be 3. 3 plus 6 would be 9. 9 plus 0 would be 9. Remember your decimal point here in the answer. And then I have 1 10. So my final answer would be 19 and 23 hundredths. Okay, subtraction is very much the same. Just make sure your decimals are lined up, and then you guys should know how to do subtraction. Skip one line. I want you to write this example. 1.9 subtract 0.634. And if I was reading this properly, it'd be 1 and 9 tenths. Subtract 634 thousandths. Okay, line up your decimals, skip one line, and we're just going to make a column again. So we have 1.9. Remember, this one goes on top. Just because this has more digits does not mean it is the one being subtracted, or that should be on top. Okay, this one's first, it needs to be on top. Minus 0. Notice I'm lining up my decimals again. 634. Okay, same as with adding. You want to have something in every column and every number. So here I'm going to fill these in with zeros to remind myself I have 0 hundredths and 0 thousandths in this number. Okay, now that you've got it all set up, that's the biggest thing. Now most of you remember how to subtract. So we're going to start in the smallest. 0 minus 4, I can't do that, so I need to borrow. Can I borrow from 0? Nope, so I need to get to the 9. If I borrow from the 9, that would leave me with 8 tenths here and give me 10 hundredths. But I still need to borrow to get to here, so 10 borrow 1 would leave me with 9 here. Now I have 10 thousandths minus 4 thousandths gives me 6 thousandths. 9 hundredths minus 3 hundredths gives me 6 hundredths. 8 tenths minus 6 tenths gives me 2 tenths. Decimal point. 1 whole minus 0 wholes leaves me with 1 whole. My final answer would be 1 and 266 thousandths. Okay, another example in the same line, just over here. I want you to write 19.46 or 19 and 46 hundredths minus 17. Okay. The place that people mess up here is they forget. This means 17 whole units. I've seen so many students take and write this right underneath the 46. This is like saying 46 cents. Would you minus 17 whole dollars from 46 cents? No, it mathematically does not make sense. So we need to once again align our decimals. So let's write the problem again. 19.46 first, because it is what is this is being subtracted from, and now we're minusing the 17. Where is the decimal in the 17? 17 whole units, it's right here at the end. So if it's not written, just remember it's at the end. So that means that 17 needs to be placed there, and let's just fill in these place values with zeros. Okay, 6 minus 0 gives me 6 hundredths. 4 minus 0 gives me 4 tenths. Decimal place. 9 minus 7 is 2, and 1 minus 1 is 0. So we have $2.46 left over if you were thinking about that in money. Okay, but very crucial that you line up your decimal points so that you have your place values correctly aligned. Now sometimes we might have multiplication and division, addition and subtraction mixed. It's important that you go from left to right when solving those kinds of problems. So if you're given something like this, 16.48 subtract 3.6 plus 7. Now since this is mixed, you can't combine them like we did up here with the addition. They were all addition, so we could put it all in one column. But here we have a subtraction. So we're actually going to do this subtraction problem first, take that answer, and then add 7 to it. So let's go ahead and write this in a column and align our decimal points. So we have 16.48, and I'm going to be subtracting 3.6 from that. Notice I align my decimal points, and I want a number in every column, so I'm going to write a 0 here. Okay, now just do our subtraction. 8 hundredths minus 0 hundredths is 8 hundredths again. 4 minus 6, I can't do that, so I'm going to borrow from over here. That would leave me with 5 whole units. Regroup 10 over here, that would be 10 plus 4 would be 14. 14 tenths minus 6 tenths gives me 8 tenths. Decimal point to divide my parts from my wholes. 5 minus 3 gives me 2 whole units, and I still have something in the tens. Minus 0 here, so that would just be 1. So my answer would be 12.88 or 12 and 88 hundredths. However, that was only this part of the problem. I still need to add 7 to what we got. So let's align our decimals again. So 12.88. Now some of you might think you can do this in your head, and you are right. Most of you probably could. However, I'm doing this example to show that you must align your decimals. Where is the decimal in this 7? This means 7 whole numbers. The decimal is at the end. So I'm going to show putting it here because I still see people trying to minus it from the last digit. If I did that here, that would be 7 hundredths. That is not what this means. This is 7 whole units. So I'm going to fill these in with zeros to help me align my decimal place value better. Now 8 minus 0 is 8. 8 minus 0 is 8. Decimal point to signify that these are my pieces. Now I'm into my whole units. 2 minus 7, I can't do that, so I'm going to borrow and that would leave me with 12 ones. 12 ones minus 7 ones gives me 5 ones. Oh my goodness, why am I minusing? I hope you guys weren't following me very much on that. Hopefully you realize this was a plus, Mrs. Geiger. Alright, let's try this again. If you happen to copy what I did, just go ahead and put an X through it. If you saw that I was doing it wrong, congratulations. Remember, we all make errors. As long as we catch them, we're in good shape. I hope you did yours in pencil. I do it in pencil. It shows up on the video. I apologize. Let's try that again. So we have 12.88 and we are adding 7. Okay, now that matches up with what I need to do. This is what I get for making videos at 10 o'clock at night. These are zeros. Okay, 8 plus 0 is 8. 8 plus 0 is 8.